This is Karen with NewClevelandRadio.net, and it is time for What in the World with Paul Seaburn and his sidekick, John Donalo. And we have not been together since last year. It's been such a long time.
You better believe it.
Seems like it.
Hey, everybody. Wow. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. Happy Hanukkah. Happy Kwanzaa. Happy all that stuff. Hope everybody had. Oh, I ran out of breath there. Jeez. Hope everybody had a great holiday season. Yes, it's me, Paul Seaburn, your host of What in the World, everybody's favorite weird news show. Our motto is the same one we had last year. Real news, something strange, always funny. We're not changing anything. We made it through last year successfully. We had a good time. We hope you did too. And we're going to continue with that plan into 2023. Let's see. So what people are you listening to in your earpiece or on the screen? We'll start off with Karen Hale, our producer and media mogul at NewClevelandRadio.net. Hi, Karen.
Hello.
Karen is the moderator of all of the podcasts at NewClevelandRadio.net. If you're friends with her on Facebook or you follow her, you'll find out that she's got some new shows here. Exciting. Anything, Karen is guaranteed to have something that hits it on the nose or is close to it.
We certainly try.
Yep. Come and listen to us. Find out how to download one of the Spotify or from one of the other platforms, or come and visit us on YouTube so you can see what we look like and follow us there. And then the guy you want to see is John Donalo, the host of What in the World of Sports. Hey, John.
Hey, Paul. Hey, Karen. It's a new year, and welcome to 2023.
2023. That's right. I happened to see John a couple of times over the holidays already. So in addition to our Zooming over here, we had a chance to get together for a reunion, and really two reunions. We got to see Dan, a friend of the show from down in South Carolina, and an old friend of both of ours. So hi, Dan. Hello to everybody out there who's a regular listener. Brian in West Virginia, Mark in Tennessee. I heard from both of them who were very disappointed that we were not on last week. So we're here now.
Yes, we are.
Yes. So let's see. I think that I'm wearing my new Bigfoot gift T-shirt, sweatshirt from friends of the show, Ron and Linda, who also happen to be my wife's cousins. So it was one of those things. They said they saw it in a store and they knew the person to get it for.
Absolutely.
And it wasn't John or Karen, it was me. So so let's see what we've got to this is the place you come for strange news. Not bad news, not political news, religion, business, all that stuff that you don't want to that you didn't talk about over the holidays. Well, we're not going to talk about it here either. Our goal is to find the strangest, most unusual stories and have some fun with them. I'm the editor and head writer at Mysterious Universe, mysteriousuniverse.org, and you can see some more lengthy and more in-depth paranormal stories there. But I pick and choose from a little bit from there as well. But mostly these are stories just for What in the World. You'll also, if you follow me on Facebook, you'll see I tend to test out some of our stories during the week, so you get a firsthand look, a sneak preview, as it will, before everybody else does. So what do we have this week? Let's get right to it. We've got a witchy hourglass. This is a very unusual hourglass that you will recognize as soon as you see it. Just went up for auction. Very interesting story. Strange smell. This is for you, Karen. These are smells that only women can smell. So for Karen and all of our female listeners out there, this is a good one. Reason why I'm wearing my Bigfoot sweatshirt, we found Bigfoot's favorite place in Colorado. So we're going to be talking about that. If you're planning a visit to Colorado, if you live in Colorado, this is a story for you. Let's see. Oh, the world's strangest snack food. I know nobody wants to hear about food after pigging out over the holidays, but we've got one good snack food story for us. A saint. Now this is John This is one for you and me and our buddy Dan and many of my high school friends who went to St. Anthony of Padua. We have a saint who was in charge of finding lost things. Well, he was actually lost, and they found him. So we're going to talk about him. Much more odd news. We've got some trivia. John's got another great strange sport for us, and then we'll play everybody's favorite weird news game, Bluff the Co-host. So you want to stay tuned for that at the end of the show. So let's get right to it. In fact, I have a little bit of sound effects to get us ready to start the show.
What was that?
That wasn't so good.
Here we go. Nobody's getting it.
No.
No, what's going on?
Oh, it's charge.
Oh,
You know,
charge.
but I'm not going to do an impression. I don't do impressions. Okay, let's get right to it. We'll use our horn. Okay, we just finished the holiday season. We just finished Christmas. There were some people that I was talking to on the day after Christmas who were complaining, and I found this hard to believe. They were complaining that the radio stations were no longer playing Christmas music on the day after Christmas. John, did that bother you?
No, not really. I'm kind of a fan of Christmas music, as long as it's relative. No, I would say no. I was not.
This was one of my relatives that was complaining. So,
Right.
Karen, I know doesn't have that problem. There aren't that many songs for your holiday. So
That's true. Adam Sandler only has a handful.
well, this story came out after Christmas, and a team of researchers at DTU Physics. I'm not sure where that's at, but it's a physics company. They have this. They use nanotechnology is what they do. So they make really tiny little things, tinier than you can see in conventional microscopes. They have a machine called a nano sculpturing machine. That means it makes real tiny little sculptures, and it's called the nanofraser, which sounds like a monster from the movies. But nanofraser is the machine, and they created the world's smallest vinyl Christmas record. Well, smaller than I could squeeze my fingers together to show you. It was only 40 micrometers. Now, a micrometer is a 0.0001 inch. So it's like the size, it's smaller than a hair. That's how big this tiny record was. And it was big enough to hold a song specially designed just for this tiny record. It was the 12 Seconds of Christmas. On the first second of Christmas. Actually, it was a 40-second record. That's as much as they could get on there. So they put 40 seconds of a song that I know you heard over Christmas, "Rocking Around the Christmas Tree." Heard it. I know I heard it tons of times. John, I'm sure you
I did. Yes, yes, I did.
That's not why I'm asking you, John. I want to know, do you know who sang "Rocking Around the Christmas Tree," that song that you heard every day, 2 or 3 times a day?
I'm gonna say Leslie Gore.
Oh, very close, very close. I was going to give you a hint that it was a female. It was Brenda Lee. Brenda Lee.
Oh, okay, all right, okay.
That was her second biggest record in her career. This is it. For those of you who don't know, that's trivia time. Second biggest hit of her career. She recorded "Rocking Around the Christmas Tree" when she was just 13 years old, and she had already been recording since she was 10. Now, all I have to say is country music, and that explains everything, because they start them earlier in country music. But 13 years old, she recorded it in 1958. Did I mention it? Went on to be recorded by hundreds of artists. One of the most successful Christmas songs of all time. Brenda Lee, still around. She's 78 years old. I didn't know that. She's 4 feet 9 inches tall. Very tiny little singer. Big voice, tiny singer. She had, I can't believe this, 47 Billboard hits during the 1960s. 47. She ranked 4th in the decade from 1960 to 1970. 4th behind Elvis Presley, the Beatles, and Ray Charles. Number 4, Brenda Lee. I don't remember Brenda Lee being that popular.
No, I don't either. But wow, that's quite a record that she has.
Okay, so I'm not even going to ask you. I won't embarrass you, John, to give me a guess on her number 1 hit. Karen, were you a Brenda Lee fan?
Well, I mean, I remember listening to her a lot, but I have no idea what her number 1 would be.
No, I couldn't either. I'm sorry. And I'm not going to try and sing it, but it was a nice slow song, a mournful kind of song. That was her number 1 hit. Number 1 here, number 1 in Europe, number 1 everywhere. 1960. So just after Rocking Around the Christmas Tree. She was, I think she's since been joined, the first woman to be inducted in both the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and the Country Music Hall of Fame. I'm going to guess that Dolly Parton is the other woman who's now in both of them. But up until Dolly Parton, Brenda Lee was the only one. In the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, I got just amazing. Brenda Lee fans, there you go. Okay, so if our good friend Dan is listening down in South Carolina, hi Dan. We had a wonderful lunch with him, and fan of the show, real big fan of What in the World of Sports with John Donalo. So you got to wait for that, John. But Dan, in the meantime, I mentioned that Dan and I went to high school together before all the 3 of us met in college. The high school that I went to was St. Anthony of Padua in Parma, Ohio. So named for St. Anthony of Padua, right, John?
That is right. That's right.
Not hard to figure that one out.
No, not hard to figure that one out at all.
St. Anthony of Padua is a big Italian saint. He's also a big Spanish saint. But, San Antonio is named after Saint Anthony. There's many missions and cities in California, Spanish, named after. He was born in Lisbon, Portugal. He's a Portuguese person. He died in Padua. That's why they call him St. Anthony of Padua. But I thought that was, number 1, that was interesting. That's not what the story's about, though. So St. Anthony, and this comes from, and John, I'm sure you remember this. My mom used to tell us always, if you lose something, you pray to St. Anthony because he's the patron saint of finding lost things. Karen, you probably heard that.
Oh, I grew up knowing that. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Patron saint of lost things. They didn't know what St. Anthony looked like. They lost all of the images. They were guessing. He lived till the 11th century, 12th century, I guess it was. Didn't know what he looked like, but they had his skull. They had his skull. So these facial recognition people that are now, spying on us everywhere, in their spare time, they try to generate pictures of what people look like back, like mummies. So they took his skull and they recreated an image of St. Anthony of Padua. And I'm going to give you that image while I'm thinking about it here. Here's, let's go. There you go. Share works there. Let's try. So here's St. Anthony. Now, looks like a Franciscan, right? He's got his brown robe. He's got his hood. He's got the Franciscan hair, which, for those of you who aren't familiar with it, it looks like Mo Howard if Curly took a razor and cut off all his hair in the middle of his head. So he just has a ring of hair around his a ring of bangs, I guess would be the best way to describe it. And a good looking man.
Why did they have to wear their hair that way?
It's
You don't
in the
know.
Bible. I don't know. I don't know. That's a good question for another show. So anyways, so shows him with his balding head, his round face, brown robe, his eyes. If you watch his eyes seem to be moving like he's looking for something that's lost, which is his job. So, it's perfect for him. So born in Lisbon, died in Padua. How did he become the patron saint of lost things, you may ask? So I looked it up because I had no idea. It turns out that's not why he became a saint. He became a saint because he preached to fish. You got that? He preached to fish, not to people, but to fish. He's over. Apparently he went from Portugal to Italy to work on the Italians because they were not, hard to believe being as close to Rome as they are. They were not following what he was preaching. So he went to Italy, and the locals didn't want to listen to him. So the story is he went down to the seashore, and he started preaching into the water, and millions of fish came up around into the water and listened to him. And it got so big that it marveled, the local people were marveled, and they thought, well, this guy must be good. So let's go listen to him. Now I thought maybe it's because they pretended to listen to him, and in the meantime they're scooping fish out into their baskets. But that's it. So they impressed him. Now you go to my church on Sundays, and you'll find me looking like a dead fish listening to the sermon. So it's almost almost the same, not quite. So why did he become the patron saint of lost things? He was a teacher as well as a priest, and he would teach from a book of Psalms, and everything. It was like a cell phone in his day. Everything that he needed was in his book of Psalms. He had notes all the way through it. He had lesson plans. He had all this stuff. One day he loses it. He doesn't know what to do. So he prays to God. He says, help me find my my lost psalm book. And I turn, and one of them comes walking in with the book and says, "Hey, Fada, did you lose this?" And that's it. That, honestly, God, it's a true story. That's how he became the patron saint of lost things. Works both ways. I didn't realize this because I went to St. Anthony of Padua, as I mentioned, and one time I didn't do my homework, and I went to the priest who was teaching the class, and I said, Father, I lost my homework. And he prayed to St. Anthony, and what he found was that I just didn't do it. So anyway, there's the story of St. Anthony of Padua, patron saint of lost things. Okay. Now, I'm going to take this picture down here because this doesn't relate to old St. Anthony here, but this is the one for Karen. So this comes, I call this my DAW file, like, we should have known this. Psychologist at Macquarie University in Sydney, Australia, big university down there. They were studying how women smell. And they were wondering, not how they smell to other people, but how they input smells, and can they tell what they're smelling. So they found what they were testing was a theory that women can, just by their sense of smell, tell if a man is married or if he's single. I'm going to ask you, Karen, has that ever happened to you? Have you ever walked up to someone, a guy, obviously, and by their odor determined that they were single or married?
Oh, my husband every day.
Oh, no. Okay, so everybody but your husband. Okay, we'll just skip over this.
I don't think fragrance has anything to do with married or unmarried.
Okay, well, good. I think many women might feel the same way. I've never heard that. So so here's how they conducted the study. They took T-shirts, and they had the guys wear T-shirts, married men and single men, for a day, for 24 hours. 82 women between the ages of 18 and 35. They stop after 35, which I don't know. I guess that means, after 35, if you smell a man's underwear, you're not going to smell a man's underwear unless there's jewelry involved. So they make the guys wear a T-shirt for 24 hours, which for most guys is, a good start, or barely worn, because, I've got T-shirts that are years old that I haven't washed. I hope the lovely Donna's not listening, because she's going to go looking for it. So they were asked. So the women, they took the T-shirts from the guys. They couldn't identify who they came from. They gave them to the women. They said, smell this. Can you, first, how much do you like or dislike this smell? And then, how sexy does this odor smell to you? Those were the two questions. So, and believe it or not, that's what the study found. they could actually every time tell the difference between a shirt that was worn by a married man and a shirt that was worn by a single man. So they didn't say, it had to do with testosterone and stuff like that, which I couldn't understand the study. They got into chemicals and all that. My thinking is, I think it's easy to tell the difference between a shirt that a single man wears and a shirt that a married man. A single man shirt smells like Febreze. A married man smells like Downy fabric softener, because a married guy, John, has a wife who does his laundry.
Oh yeah,
Single guys
sure.
don't do laundry; they just spray Febreze all over everything.
I like the theory.
Had Febreze been around when we were younger, that's how we would smell, I'm sure.
Yeah, yeah, true.
Now,
Oh, here
didn't
comes
you
the-
just take your root deodorant and spray everything?
Christmas always reminds me of when I was in my teens and early 20s. The number one gift we got was cologne. John, I know you were the same
Oh
way.
yeah,
We would get karate, we would get brute, we would get
English English
English leather. Yeah. It always pops into my mind when at Christmas time. I think, thank God, because I don't wear that stuff anymore. The lovely Donna likes the way I smell. Okay, I hope. Let's move on before I get into any more trouble than I'm already in. This one is about the hourglass. Okay, so classic 1939 movie, The Wizard of Oz, and hourglass played a huge part in that movie. When the Wicked Witch sent the flying monkeys after Dorothy and the Tin Man and the Scarecrow, she held up that hourglass, huge hourglass, and she says, "You see that? That's how much longer you've got to be alive." And it isn't long, my pretty. It isn't long. I can't wait forever to get those shoes. You remember that scene, don't you?
Oh sure, it's a central scene in the movie.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's a here's a if you don't, here's a picture of her. So there she is. Margaret Hamilton, by the way, is the actress from Cleveland, Ohio, as a matter of fact.
Right.
In her green makeup, and there's the hourglass. Now she hadn't. I don't know if she had flipped it over yet. I don't think she flipped it over. So it's got reddish pink sand in it. Huge hourglass with gargoyles as the post. So it looks like it weighs a ton. That hourglass right there that she has in her hand just went up for sale at an auction. And what do you think it sold for? This is a movie prop, but obviously a classic movie prop. Take a guess. What do you think it sold for?
150,000.
150,000. You're low. John, how about you?
I'm going to say 400,000.
400,000. You're low as well. $495,000.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, $495,000. It came with instructions too. The instructions read, for people who are under 20, this is an hourglass that's used to tell time. You flip it over.
Right.
Ask your grandfather. That's what it said. If this movie were made today, what would the Wicked Witch hold up and yell at Dorothy? It's your time is running out. What, she hold up a Fitbit? What would she hold? And what would she say if she had a Fitbit? You only have 9,000 steps to go, and then I'll get you, my pretty.
That would be a big twist on things, Paul, for sure. But that's probably what it would be if it was done today. Sure.
Exactly. I don't know. I mean, that was a classic day. So that particular, they had 3 different hourglasses that they used in the movie. One was an actual one made out of wood, the heavy one. It was heavy, made out of wood. Another one was the heavy one was made out of resin. So that was the real heavy one, the one that they used for the classic pictures. Then they had one made out of wood, and the one that she's holding was made out of paper mache and a little bit of wood. So it was much lighter, and that's the one that sold for $495,000. That same hourglass was used in a number of other movies. I didn't realize this. Babes on Broadway in 1941. Diane, I don't remember what that one was about. and The Seven Faces of Dr. Lao. John, one of your favorites, if I remember correctly.
I remember that movie.
I couldn't remember for the life of me what it was about.
Yeah. Well, Dr. Law was kind of an evil person. So
look it up, John. Look it up. You'll be surprised. You'll be surprised.
Okay.
Also at the same auction, Matthew Broderick's sweater from Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Remember, very famous movie. Matthew Broderick, right? Well, one of his first movies, one that made him famous. 1986 movie sold for $143,000.
Wow.
That's right. And you know what, Karen? It smelled like a single guy because he was only like 16
He tied that in nicely.
when he made it. Yeah. Okay, so this is it. This was just one of those interesting little factoids for you. To use at your next cocktail party. This comes from the University of Tübingen, which I believe is in Finland. These archaeologists found bones of bears, ancient prehistoric bears, cave bears, in a cave in Lower Saxony. Where do you know where that is, John? Lower Saxony? I'm not sure.
No,
that's like in the Scandinavian countries, I think. Well, oh, it's in Germany. It's in Germany.
Okay.
So the cuts on the bone resembled not the kind of cuts that you make if you're butchering to eat something, but they were cuts made like they were skinning the bears to make bear clothing. This was 320,000 years ago. That's how old the bones were, which means that people were wearing bear skins much farther back in the future, in the past, than the scientists first realized. So this was a big thing, big discovery, that 320,000 years ago, people were wearing bear skin. Unfortunately, all that survived was the bones, not the bear skins. You know why? Because prehistoric people didn't know that you're supposed to dry clean bear skin. You don't wash them in the river.
All right. Okay. There's a reason for everything.
There's a reason for everything. Okay. All right. So I left the witch up there because I've got another photo coming up right here. And bears is a good lead in to Bigfoot. So as I mentioned, I've got my Bigfoot sweatshirt on. I think Bigfoot might be here. Is Bigfoot here? He's ready. Okay. Did anybody hear that?
No.
You know what? I need to rig up. I need to do something with my microphone. We'll fix that for the next show.
Good.
Take my word for it. Bigfoot's here because Bigfoot wants to know about this. So this comes from Estes Park, California, Colorado. I may have mentioned this on a previous show. One of my favorite vacation spots, Estes Park. It's north of Denver. It's not a big ski area, it's a big hiking area, which is why I like to go there. And the Stanley Hotel is there. Stanley Hotel is a hotel that was used in the movie The Shining, Stephen King movie with Jack Nicholson saying, "Here's Johnny." Everybody remembers that scene. Stanley Hotel is a beautiful hotel, very haunted. Another reason why I love going there. But now I'm going because you are guaranteed to see Bigfoot whenever you go to Estes Park, Colorado. That's for you, John, okay? And I know exactly where to find it because I've been to this place before. So here's your photo of Bigfoot and exactly where he's located at. So there's Bigfoot. He is standing in front of Squatchy Donuts. Squatchy Donuts is on, I've got the address down here somewhere. I'll get to it. This is in Estes Park, Colorado. This is just on the border of the outskirts of Estes Park. The owners are Jack and Jill Skinner. Jack and Jill Skinner are Bigfoot investigators. I have a picture of Jack and Jill with Bigfoot. There you go. Look at that. There's Jack and Jill standing with Bigfoot right in between them. You can't beat that, John. Bigfoot. Look at how big he is.
Yeah, he's very big, and I mean, he
kind of wooden. He's got a wooden pose, doesn't he?
He's obviously a statue of some kind. Like, I'm just curious as to what material that statue is made out of.
Oh, I guarantee it's carved out of a single log. It looks.
Okay, I was going to say probably a log.
Looks like his arm may have broken off at one time, and they glued it back on. Yeah. So Jack and Jill opened their donut shop. They wanted to retire in Colorado. So they opened their donut shop on West Elkhorn Avenue. West Elkhorn Avenue. There's a beautiful little shopping area over there, and they're right there. So they sell. This is great. Made to order mini donuts. So when you go in there while you're looking at Bigfoot, you order a dozen mini donuts, and they make them for you on the spot in seconds. Bigfoot technology. Bigfoot obviously shared with them some of the advanced technology that he uses to mess up photographs that, as John always points out, or disappear before you can take a good photo of them. So the Bigfoot has shared that technology with them. In fact, I think I have a picture of one of the donuts right here. There we go. There's a plate of donut holes from Squatchy Donuts. You can get 8 or you can get 16. But kind of odd. It must be Bigfoot dozen, 8 or 16. Served with your choice of toppings for a real treat. Here's the ad that's like an appetizer and served like nachos. I don't know if I want my donut served as nachos, but also not only do you get Squatch donuts, you get Sasquatch coffee from the Sasquatch Coffee Company, which they also own. Coffee is served hot. You can buy beans there. And then once you're done and you've had your fill of donuts and coffee, you can go to the little museum that they have there, where you can see footprints. You can see cast of footprints. You can see photos of Bigfoot. You can even purchase Bigfoot souvenirs, like my sweatshirt. I don't know if my sweatshirt came from there, but I'm sure they have other things for sale, like Squatchy Cafe.
Hey, Paul,
Yeah.
I'm wondering, do they sell any videos or any DVRs?
John, you know the answer to that. The only way to find out is for us to make a road trip.
Oh,
Hey, I think we should record from there next week.
Next week.
Sure. Yeah.
Don't tell our friends at Joe Max.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Although, maybe we could set something like this up at Joe Max. But I didn't even think of that. Okay, so that's the Squatchy. What's it called again? Squatchy Donuts. Squatchy Donuts. They're let's see. The best time to go. No, we can't go next week, Karen, because we're going to go in April. April 14th and 15th is Estes Park Bigfoot Days. They have a big Bigfoot festival in Estes Park. Yeah, 2-day festival. Go to Squatchy Donuts. You can go up in the woods and go looking for Bigfoot yourself. It sounds like just my thing.
I think we should all go and take our spouses with us.
There you go. Okay, well, we need to start planning that right now.
Yeah, I would. I would have to.
We need to get permission from our spouses first.
Yes, that is correct.
Okay, all right. So, Monty Python fan. John, are you a Monty Python fan?
I am, as a matter of fact, yes.
Yeah, I think so. Karen, I know Karen knows who Monty Python is. You're kind of a black, maybe not. Okay, so this is for Monty Python fans. A new study found that if you're not a big fan of exercising, there's a Monty Python oriented exercise that will give you a good workout. And that is the walk that John Cleese did in the sketch, The Ministry of Silly Walks. Now, I know you remember that, John.
I do remember it very well. Yes, I do.
Very famous episode where John Cleese worked for a fake government organization in the British government, and they promoted the idea of walking silly. That's about the best I can do. The funniest part was watching John Cleese kick up his legs into the air and walk sideways and all different things. Turns out, if you do that for 11 minutes, you will burn up 100 calories. Now, that's the same as running a mile. So, or maybe even walking a mile, I'm not sure. But that would take I'm sure would take most of us longer than 11 minutes. 11 minutes of walking, doing the silly walk burns 100 calories. You can also get an upper body workout if you do the fish slapping song while you're walking. Remember the fish slapping song, John?
I do. Yes, I do.
That was John Cleese or Michael Palin and John Cleese again walking back and forth with Michael Palin slapping John Cleese in the face with a fish and then backing away. And one time John Cleese got his chance and he pulled out a huge fish and knocked him into the water. Kids, you gotta see it. You can't explain it. It's just not the same as if you watch it. Watch Monty Python for yourself. So good. I was thinking, John, this might be a good sport for us to organize for What in the World of Sports, silly walking races.
Well, you know what? In fact, let me do some research on it, but I do know that I'm not able to do the silly walk.
Well, you already know without me even asking.
Yes, correct. That's correct.
The fish slapping song, for those of you who are fans of Monty Python, was also in the Holy Grail, the play that they did, the Broadway play, and they sang the fish slapping song. John Cleese, by the way, hates this. He said that in an interview, anytime Monty Python did a show, a live show, people would be screaming for it. So he always had to do it. And it got to the point, John Cleese is in his 80s. He couldn't do it anymore. So when they had their retirement, their farewell concert at the Hollywood Bowl in 2014, and they brought in a group of kids who sang it and did it for him. So I thought that was nice. We could do that. Yeah. Okay, going back to Portugal. This is another one from Lisbon. I'm going to mangle this. The Association of Moradores Unidos set a Guinness World Record when they crocheted a Christmas tree. I've got a picture of the Christmas tree here. We talked about this on Facebook. Karen, you may remember this. Guinness World Record. They crocheted a Christmas tree that measures 55.7 feet tall. There it is. It's in a courtyard in Lisbon. It has a star on the top. They've got some wires to help hold it up. But it's over 57 and a half feet tall. Number of people contributed to it. World record. They originally wanted to knit the world's biggest haystack, but they kept losing the knitting needles in it. So, what are you going to do? They switched over to crocheting a Christmas tree. Now, Karen, do you crochet by any chance?
I did many years ago.
Many years ago. How about knitting? Did you knit as well?
But I wasn't very good at it.
But most people are good in one or the other. John, I'm not going to ask you. I don't think that's a sport that you participated in.
I did not. No, I can confidently say, Paul, I did not. And Karen.
Well, they use different utensils. I didn't realize this. But I remember my mom used to talk about, we had a lovely, lovely lady, lovely single neighbor, lived across the street. And I believe she used to crochet, because whenever my mom saw her leaving the house, she would always say, "There goes that hooker." I'm hoping that she was saying, "There goes that lady who crochets," because she used a hook, right, Karen?
Yep.
Okay. All right. Okay. Well, little musical interlude here for us. Stanley Mills, the music publisher who popularized the chicken dance. Now, you would think the chicken dance wouldn't need any help becoming popular. Turns out it was. And it required a publicist who worked for a music company, and he bought the rights to the chicken dance. He just passed away at the age of 91, by the way, Stanley Mills. Said, he felt like he was 91, but his doctor said he had the hands, arms, and hips of a teenager, because he did the chicken dance all the time. Now, you remember the chicken dance? Everybody out there? It's polka music where you make a thing with your hand, then you make a thing like wings, then you wiggle your butt, and then you dance around.
Yep.
Another good workout, by the way. Fairly blurry. I guess you can't take pictures of the chicken, kind of like Bigfoot here, John.
Yeah, kind of. Reminiscent.
So I looked up. I was hoping to find who did the chicken dance, and I was so disappointed. It wasn't a chicken originally. The original name of the song was Die Ententanz, which is a German word which means the duck dance. It was actually the duck dance, not the chicken dance, by the Swiss accordionist Werner Thomas. So it was a polka guy invented it. He played it at restaurants and hotels in the 50s and the 60s, and that's when it became popular.
Well,
Now, how about that? Yeah. And we got one more trivia little item here. This is I said we'd have one snack food, even though we're so full of snack foods. One of the most popular snack foods in Colombia is this stuff right here. I'll put a picture up here while I describe it. So for those of you who can't see it, those are bugs. They're insects, but they're very
Ooh.
big. They're ants. They're ants that are the size of cockroaches, and they're called the Hormigas colonis, which which I'm not going to translate it, but for people who like to eat these are called big butt ants. Big butt ants. It's a big can of big butt ants right there. Coincidentally, John, that's what all of the third generation Kardashian kids call their mom sisters. Oh, that's my big butt aunt.
oh boy, yeah.
So yeah, I would eat these. I would eat these. I'm a fan of anything unusual. These things are only made by you can only use female ants. They cost $9 a pound, and then they're more after you fry them. Up to $40 when the supplies are limited. They're soaked in salt water, roasted, and eaten like peanuts. They say they taste like pork rinds or chicken, I guess, one or the other. It's compared to caviar in Colombia, which means they've never tasted caviar. And the reason why their butts are so big, get ready, they're full of eggs. So
are they
yeah.
good sources? Is it a good source of protein?
Oh, I'm sure it is. I'm sure it is. That's what insects are. They're
Right.
almost 100% protein. Yeah.
Right.
So yeah, if you're a bodybuilder, that's what you should be eating, big butt ants.
Wow.
Okay, one more. This is one alien story we had from last week. Substitute teacher in Amsterdam. So he gets in trouble. Substitute teachers come in and show you a film or something. So he got in trouble and this is in South Africa. No, that can't be right. He's from South Africa, but he was teaching in Amsterdam. He wanted to show some photos from his vacation. So these are the photos that he showed. Let's put one of them up here. Now, those look like aliens, 8-legged aliens walking out of the water and onto the beach, which is what the little kids thought too, as they ran screaming out of the room to yell to their parents, "Come take us home. This man's showing us aliens from another planet." Believe it or not, what those are aloe plants. I've never seen an aloe plant, but apparently they grow close to the water. The water rushes over them and somehow dries them out or does something. And when the water recedes, this is what they look like. They look like the creature from the War of the Worlds movie, or an octopus of some sort. They're dead, obviously. Although if you rub aloe vera on them, they come back to life, just like everything else does. I think I've got a picture of another one there. Look at that, a whole row of them. It's pretty scary looking. Yeah, it's hard to believe. One more substitute teacher story. So there was a teacher in another school. He got in trouble for showing his students The Exorcist while instead of teaching, he showed them The Exorcist. And he would have gotten away with it, except he did it before lunch, and they had pea soup for lunch, and that was the end.
Oh, jeez. All right. Okay,
True
Paul.
story. No, he did actually show him The Exorcist, and he's no longer a substitute teacher. They found a substitute for him.
Sure.
So, anyways, sad story. Tough. That's a tough job being a substitute teacher. I used to teach one day a week. When I lived in Houston, I taught creative writing. It exhausted me. I have so much respect for teachers. They should make more money. They should get more benefits. They should get flown to Estes Park to the Bigfoot donut shop and get free donuts. You name it, anything for teachers.
And they do a lot. Obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's see. Before I get into sports with John Donalo, we were mentioning the last time we were on 2 weeks ago that we were all looking forward to some football games, college football games over the holidays. And I have sad news for the two fans of two of the team, for all of us of the two teams. Michigan lost, very good game, and Ohio State lost, another very good game, very close game. I know John was up till the bitter end of both of those games.
Well, I was really hoping that the Big Ten would represent itself well. And I think both Ohio State and Michigan did. However, in high scoring games like that,
Yeah.
it's exciting. I think it keeps people's interest and obviously disappoints the people that are rooting for the team that is lost. But I think for college football, I would gather the viewership was high. I'm not sure what the statistics are, but I would think even a casual fan would have been caught up in watching those games. In the final game is a week from yesterday, the 9th, with TCU facing Georgia. So that should be hopefully a good matchup as well.
Well, okay. So you gave us the bad news, John. Football season is almost over, which means we need some other sports to watch. And that is why America tunes into What in the World of Sports with John Donalo, because every week John comes on our show and he brings the strangest, most unusual sports from around the world for us, not just for entertainment, but also, we can possibly participate in them, maybe get fit, certainly watch them. In Ohio, betting is now legal, so you can bet on sports in Ohio. This particular sport that John has this week sounds like one that would be fun betting on. So, John, I've got your photos lined up. Why don't you introduce our sport for this week?
Oh, I will, Paul. Thanks again for the introduction. So, as Paul had mentioned, and as we all know, after the holidays, we all feel like sumo wrestlers.
Oh, no kidding. Yeah.
We are tired out. So, our sport this week is about sumo, but it's a different or special kind of sumo. And it's called robot sumo.
Oh, robot sumo.
Now, robot sumo.
I'm excited already.
Yeah, robot sumo, or it's also referred to as Pepe sumo, is a competition in which two robots called sumo bots attempt to push each other out of a flat arena. Now, this is a legitimate sport.
But it's a simple sport. Sumo wrestling is a simple sport. So sumo sounds like a simple.
Exactly right.
So I like that. Let's see what a picture looks like here.
You have a picture for us?
Yeah.
Sure.
There we go. So there's a couple of robots.
Okay. So it's
sumo each other.
Right. Now it is similar to sumo wrestling in the fact that these heavyweight Japanese wrestlers, of course, in regular sumo wrestling, they attempt to push their opponent out of a defined circle.
Right.
Each match is normally limited to 3 minutes. But when it comes to robot sumo,
right.
In order for the sumo bots, and those are what we're looking at, are called sumo bots, they are required to body slam, their opponents. They don't need to do that, but they first need to locate them, and they locate them by using infrared or ultrasonic sensors. And then
they're pretty sophisticated.
Right. Then they use those same sensors to stay inside the edge of the arena and try to be able to put their opponent outside of the defined area. Now,
so I like, so just for those who can't see the photos, they don't look anything like sumo wrestlers. They look like little radio operated
gadgets,
vehicles. Yeah. Not very big. The arena, with John referring to the arena is in this particular case about the size of a card table, maybe.
Right.
So they're not real big, but they do. I know they do get big. So tell us about the sizes of these things.
Sure, no problem. In a moment, I'll give you the details on that. But for those who are curious, robots are allowed no weapons, and no weapons. But if they're flipped over, they're allowed to flip back upright and continue.
Okay.
Okay. Now, talking about what Paul was referring to in terms of size, heavyweight robots or sumo bots, they can weigh up to 125 pounds, and they fit into what they call into a 2-foot cube. light.
Oh, okay. So 2 foot.
light-
Yeah, that's a pretty. I couldn't find any huge robot, huge sumo pictures.
Okay,
I went
but
looking
those are the
all over.
largest ones. And then
Yeah,
the lightweight were those robots. They can weigh up to 50 pounds, and they also fit into the same size, the 2 foot cube.
Wow.
Now, there is a thing called the standard class, which is sometimes named mega sumo, and those robots may weigh up to 6.6 pounds and fit into a 7.8-inch cube.
That looks like what we're looking at right here. A little
And,
smaller.
and Paul, to your point about things that are nano, there is a nano sumo, and
Wow.
that must fit into a 1-inch cube.
Wow. Wow.
Right. So
You carry it in your pocket.
right, you have these defined classes, and they're divided into both remote controlled and autonomous robots.
Yeah. Wow.
And there's also, you'll enjoy this, folks. There's also a class for sumo bots that are built from Legos.
Lego, but I think I have a picture of a Lego one here. I want to point out on this picture, one of the robots looked like it's held together with duct tape. The one on the right. And if I'm not mistaken, most of the people build these sumo bots themselves. Although
Yes.
I look, you can get them on Amazon too. So
Amazon has so many
get
things.
anything on Amazon.
Sure, sure.
But it looks like it's more fun to build it yourself. I
Yeah.
think the Lego sumos are coming up here. I'm not sure. Those look like they might be Legos there.
Could be, yeah. Could be.
Anyways, yeah.
But so unlike in the robot war competitions that we're familiar with, the sumo bots cannot shoot fire, cannot spray liquids, or throw objects at their opponents. Other than that, any materials and components can be used, and any forms and shapes are accepted. And there is sumo robot competitions that are held worldwide.
Wow.
Here's a quick summary. There's the Robo Challenge, which is the biggest robotics competition, which is held in Bucharest, Romania. There's the RoboCore Winter Challenge, which is held in Brazil. There's Competitia Robotica, which is held in Valparaiso, Chile. And in the US, the Milford Autonomous Robotics Competition is held annually near Cincinnati, Ohio.
No kidding. It's Cincinnati.
Yeah.
Wow.
Right.
These two are cute. These are basically they're boards, look like computer boards on wheels, like little tractors. The one looks like it's got 2 eyeballs. And yeah, there they are pushing. The one's pushing the other one out. You can see the little infrared light where he knows he's about to be pushed out of the
Right.
legal area. So he's
Those are the sensors, right? Those are the
yeah,
sensors.
yeah. Pretty
Okay.
pretty. I think these are the Legos. Yeah, these two here are Lego
Right.
robots. Yeah. No
Okay.
fire. I'm disappointed. I'm a big fan of Robot Wars, the TV show, and it's always.
Popular.
Oh, yeah.
Is it still in syndication? Is it still on? I was just curious about that.
I don't know. You'd have to search for it.
Right.
So anyway, so that looks like a fun competition.
Well, and robot sumo sounds like the perfect sport for getting back into shape after the holidays, after all the food that everyone's eating, right?
Okay.
It involves plenty of bending to put your sumo bot in the arena, and lifting to pick up your defeated sumo bot, and then throwing when your sumo bot is a total loser and needs to be tossed into the trash.
There you go. Or thrown against the wall. Yeah, I've been there.
Yeah. At any rate, but it's kind of an interesting sport. I mean,
Wait, no
it's a
kidding. Yeah.
competition. Yeah, I mean, it's a competitive activity, and people take it very seriously.
This is one of those sports that I know the kids get into. I think that the high school that I went to, that we were talking about before, has a robotics lab. So I bet you they're doing stuff like that. Looks like a lot of fun. That's something I think we could all get into, or at least buy one on Amazon.
We wouldn't be challenged. We wouldn't be challenged physically in doing it. That's for sure.
That's right. That's right. So, wow, a great sport there, John. Robot sumo, a sport for the 2020s, I would say.
Yes.
And yet, John, I don't know if you remember this, but we participated in a form of robot sumo way back when we went to college. Do you remember doing that?
No, you know what? You have to rekindle my memory. You have to refresh my memory.
Isn't it fortunate? Isn't it fortunate that I have photos?
I'm glad you do because I'm drawing the blank. Help me. Help me.
So John and I were just at our fraternity reunion. I bet you our frat brothers don't remember this either. So any of them are listening, you'll be reminded of this. Now, if I'm not mistaken, we misunderstood the instructions to build a robot. And we didn't have this kind of technology. So what we did was we made robots out of ourselves, our own robots out of ourselves. And pretty much just ran into each other with it looks like we're wearing furniture pads and balloons underneath them. I'm not sure what that photo.
Well, I think I have selective amnesia on this one.
You know,
John,
I can't
Oh
believe
my
you don't remember this
God.
because we also did it for Christmas. We also did it for Christmas. Here's a picture of us doing it for Christmas. So we were. I know that's us. It's dressed like sumo wrestlers and running into each other just like sumo wrestlers.
oh boy. Yeah. It's starting to come back to me now.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I'll bet. All right.
Oh.
Robot sumo. That's an interesting sport. Thank you so much for that, John. What in the world
sure.
is sports with John Donalo every week on What in the World? And for those of you who are regular fans of the show, that means that it's time for Bluff the co-host, everybody's favorite weird news game. No, that's not real news, sometimes strange. Bluff the co-host is real simple. I have 3 stories that are just like the ones we've been telling all afternoon with one big difference, and that is that those were all real news, sometimes strange, always funny. These are not necessarily real news. They could be bluffs, and it's up to Karen and John and you listeners to decide, is it real? Is it a bluff? And guess what? January 1st, betting became legal in Ohio. So all of you listening in Ohio, you can now bet on Bluff the co-host.
Absolutely. Yep.
Place your bets. John and Karen, hands on the buzzer, and let's get right to story number 1. The annual Christmas Carol concert at the Stafford Mall in Virginia had to be canceled this year when the reindeer games got out of hand. The singers hadn't even gotten to singing Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer when 2 of the live reindeer pulling Santa on his sleigh through the mall got spooked by another Santa. They weren't confused. It was one of those big inflated Santas, and the reindeer didn't like his looks, so they decided to play a game of Santa ball with it. The handlers finally calmed them down, and no one was injured, but so many kids were crying that the mall management decided to apologize, give everybody a coupon for hot chocolate and cookies, and told them it was the fault of the substitute reindeer named Bouncer. Okay, so the Christmas Carol concert at a mall that had to be canceled when the reindeer attacked Santa Claus. What do you say, Karen? Real or bluff?
Well, I first have to apologize to the rest of the world today because right before Christmas, some deer by the name of Prancer came
that's
running
right.
into the side of our car. And our whole
forgot
side of our
about that,
car is all
yeah.
dented. So I don't like
Oh,
reindeer
right.
stories anymore.
Oh,
I'm gonna
okay.
say
We'll
it's-
give you a pass if you want.
I'm going to say it's true.
Oh, Karen says it's true. Okay,
Yeah.
that she personal experience with a reindeer. What
Yep.
was his name again? Dumpster?
Prancer.
Oh, okay.
Prancer just came
All right.
prancing.
Wow. Okay, so John says it's real. Karen says it's real. John, how about you?
I'm going to say it's not real. I don't think that a blown up Santa can scare an animal. And I just don't think it's true, Paul. I think it's a tall tale, if you ask me. I think it's false.
Okay. John, you don't own any pets, do you?
No, we do. My wife and I both did have pets, though, but no, we do not have a pet now. That is correct.
Pets get scared by anything. If this Santa sounded like a vacuum cleaner, there'd be animals all over it. All right, so John says that the reindeer story is a bluff. Karen says it's real. Let's check with the judges, and the judges say, we're sorry, Karen, for your loss of your car, and we need to let you know that was a bluff.
Okay. Well,
So John was right. I don't
In a-
know about
in a-
I don't
in a
know about
rare
his
occurrence, I'm
theory
right.
on animals not being spooked by Santa. But anyway, so John's ahead 1-0. Way to start the year off, John.
Okay, thanks. Good. Feel good.
Let's see if you can keep it going. This is a long game, as we know. Okay,
Yes.
so let's go right to story number 2. Some states use prisoners to pick up litter along the highways. New York tells its city and citizens to pick up their own damn litter, but then bring it to the local prisons, where prisoners will bury it and turn it into compost in a new program called composting. A prisoner actually got the idea when another con got caught trying to escape by digging a tunnel. And this one decided that what prisoners need is a way to dig for a good cause. So far, one prison in Albany has composted 10 tons of compost, which it sells back at a cheap price to locals for their gardens. Everyone wins with composting, except the protesters outside, who say using prison labor is communism. Okay, so John and Karen, we'll start with John first. Composting, using prisoners to collect garbage and make compost. What do you say, real or bluff?
Well, I think it's true. And I can understand the thinking behind it. And I'm hoping that the people that are in prison are not being overworked, as the protesters are saying. So I'm going to say it's true.
Okay, John says composting is a real thing. Karen, how about you?
Well, I sort of have to agree because New York is very advanced on their ecology. So sounds like a great idea. And I think we should adopt it here in Ohio.
Wow. Okay. So Karen says that, yeah, we do the litter pickup. Okay. So Karen says it's true. John says it's true. Composting. Let's check with the judges, and the judges say, sorry to both of you, that's a bluff.
Oh,
No, come on.
New York may care about the environment, about prisoners. This is New York. They're not going to do anything like that. Composting is some writer made that up. Okay, so let's check with the scoreboard. Scoreboard says John is ahead still 1-0. All right, John. But Karen has a chance to come back. Unlike football, round 3, you get 2 points instead of 1.
Wow.
So Karen could pull
Karen
it
could,
off in the
Karen,
last
Karen could
second.
carry the day if she gets it right.
Don't shank the kick,
There you have it. Very good. Very good.
so to speak. All right, let's get right to story number 3. The hot new trend in porta potties these days is porta outhouses. A portable toilet supplier in Tennessee can't keep its new line of porta johns that look like outhouses in stock. They're made from a plastic wood and even have 2 holes on the inside, but that's where the resemblance ends. The porta outhouses are equipped with automatic air fresheners, hand sanitizers, and even come with an optional Wi-Fi hotspot. The company says that the porta outhouses are popular for picnics, parties, and especially outdoor weddings. Just remember, just remember that using pages from a Land's End catalog instead of toilet paper will result in the company not refunding your deposit.
Oh,
Okay, so porta outhouses in Tennessee. Karen and John, real or bluff? We'll go with Karen on this one.
The thought of it is really crappy, so I'm gonna say it's false.
Really crappy story there, Paul. All right, super. Karen says it's a bluff. John, how about you?
yeah, I'm going to say it's false also. I mean, I don't have to give a reason. I'm just going to say it's false.
Oh, no, you do have to give a reason, John. That's the rule. Okay, so would you use a porta outhouse, by the way?
I'm going to say no.
No, not if you really had to go, after about
Well, push
84,000 beers.
comes to shove, so to speak. I would, obviously. But
You'd shove everybody out of the way of the porta outhouse and
that's
jump right
right.
in.
That's right.
Would you use the big hole or the small? Never mind. I'm not.
Yeah, but more information than anyone needs to know. That's for
Okay,
sure.
so let's see if I got this right. Karen and John both said that this is a bluff. Is that correct? Let's
That's
check with the judge. Is that, yeah, that is. Check with the judges, and the judges say congratulations to both of you. That is a bluff. That means John is our winner for this week. Wow, 2023 starts off
Okay,
with a
good.
bang for,
Good.
Very
All
good,
right.
John. Very good.
yeah,
Very
yeah.
Karen. Good. A good spirited match as always. Every week we can count on that. That's for certain.
That's right. No penalties, okay. All right. Well, that means that we have come to the end of the first What in the World for 2023. I want to thank Karen Hale, our producer, media mogul at newclevelandradio.net, and all around great co-host. Thanks for everything you do for our show. Thanks for everything you do for all the podcasts at newclevelandradio.net. Please, everybody, tune in, check it out. Try some of the other podcasts that Karen has available for you. Another new year, still same great price, free. And as always, thanks to my old friend John Donalo for everything you do, Bluff the co-host, sports and trivia and everything else. All your fans say hello.
Oh, I don't know if I have fans, but no, thanks, Paul, for the kind words. And glad that we're starting a new year. And
Absolutely.
have some great shows.
And for everybody listening, you probably should send Paul a message because he is starting his 6th year of What
Really?
in the World.
Wow. Boy, I didn't think
Very
I was
good,
that
Paul.
old.
Very
Yeah.
How
good.
about that? Boy, and it's been 6 fun years, I will say. This is John and I were just talking about this over the holidays. It's one of the high points of our week to get together with everybody and tell funny stories. Everybody should do it. Everybody should have a podcast like this. In fact, I know somebody who's looking for podcasters. So if you'd like to do a podcast, contact Karen Hale at newclevelandradio.net. Great platform for them. I especially want to thank all of the podcast listeners who are fans of our show. Thank you so much for for listening to us last year and for rejoining up with us again this year. We plan to have more new and exciting and fun stories. Hello to all of our, I do shout outs to a few people. I know we have an awful lot of fans out there. Send me a note on Facebook and we'll mention if you want to get mentioned. But we really do appreciate you listening and following the show. So we hope you continue to do that through 2023. And on that note, I'm going to go play Sumo Bot.
Okay.
See you next
Have
week.
a great time, everybody. See you next week.
Bye-bye.
Great week, everybody. Bye.